Wayne Spooney here for First to the Floor with my guy. I believe last time I was hosting, I just said my Jake Eisenberg.
Yeah.
But, he's my guy, Jake Eisenberg. What up, Jake?
I'm very happy to be whatever you want. You know, I'm a versatile podcast host.
That's right. You're taken by one man, though. We all know who that is.
This is true. One mistress is enough for me, I think. But yeah, man, I'm good. How are you doing? You're recovering from our 13th loss of the season, as we're more than 60 games in at this point, I think.
It's stupid, but it pissed me off more than it probably should have.
Of course.
But yeah, they're not allowed to lose. It's absurd. Before we jump into it real quick, please like the stream. Help us against the algorithm. Yeah. Sub to the YouTube, sub on all the podcast apps. Check out the playbacks. Every game, Jake is on playback.tv/Celtics blog, doing live streams of the games. They're super fun. We got Celtics blog writers, Ben, myself, we're all jumping in and out of there. You can interact with us and watch the game. It's really fun. Check out my column that should be dropping Friday, 3-Leaf Clover. Join our Discord. It's going to be great. It's a lot of fun. We're about to hit 100 members. We need 2 more. So if you want to jump in there and be the 100th, we have merch. Link is in the description. It's our sweet logos that we paid a lot of money to get made and look awesome. So go buy some merch. Shout out to our listener, Christine Ryan, who sent us these badass posters that you probably can't see.
Hell yeah, Christine.
And I have 2 of those and 2 signed Kristaps Porzingis photos that I'm taking to Vegas with me to give Jake and Ben.
That you hopefully bring to Vegas.
I know, yeah. You guys seriously will need to text me. I'll have to tell my wife so she reminds me.
And everybody else that's listening, please remind Spoony.
Yeah, our last show before we leave, please drop it in the chat. I beg you. And if you like our show, check out Celtics Lab. Jake was just on there, I think, last week. He did a great job, talked about how the mid-range game is like trench warfare. So it was the highlight of the show for me, maybe of the year. So check them out. But okay, Jake, 105-104, stupid loss, up 22 in the fourth quarter. You guys talked about it on the post-game show on late night. So we're going to try and take a little different angle, and then we're going to get into a Denver Nuggets preview as well about halfway through. But does the sting of the loss feel any different today?
Yeah, feeling better. It is like, Eric Weiss right here, 2 post-game shows, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. You're damn right, dude. Yep. And that's what you're getting on this channel is just content for days. But like there is value, I think, in doing the immediate reaction, which is obviously going to be raw and emotional, especially post a game like that, post the Warriors game that we were all on for late night. Very different vibes between the two. Yeah. But yeah, we have time to go back, rewatch the fourth quarter for you guys, because that's what we do. Even though it was a painful experience to watch Dean Wade eviscerating my soul once again. But it is good to get a little bit different perspective. Spoony, I think I have a theory on why everybody freaks out, including us. Like I try and temper it a little bit, to try and be calm, objective, reasonable after losses. Definitely not wins. That's not something I do very, very well. But after losses, there are very few teams in NBA history that have been as good and have won as much as this like Jay's era Boston Celtics without winning a title. And it's like, if we had won the 2022 finals and we have this team right now, like I just think that the consternation, the concern trolling, the PTSD would be far less every time if we had just had the title in hand. Like we've just been beaten down by the success that ends in heartbreak year in, year out, I think, at this point.
Dude, you know what proves that theory 100% right is Giannis and the Bucks. Yeah. Look at the Bucks' playoff performances other than the title year. Have they even made an Eastern Conference Finals with Giannis? I don't think they have.
I don't think so. It was second round against the Raptors.
They beat us They beat us in the second round with Kyrie. That's right. And then they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Raptors. So that's right. Okay. So 1 Eastern Conference Finals and a title. And then every other year, it's like, well, they'll be fine. It's the Bucks. The Bucks are going to be fine. Yeah. They've lost in the first round as the 1 seed twice in the past 4 years. Like, can you imagine if that was the Celtics, dude? Like, we would be slander for days. But because they got that one title, it's like, It's the Bucks, man. They're going to
Yeah.
be fine in the
Yeah.
playoffs. So, yeah, I think you're spot on with that. And I think it's also like Boston fans listen to local Boston sports radio. You are insulated from this, Jake, but one of my
Correct.
best friends listens to our show in local Boston sports. And he literally texted me. He was like, it is like two different things happen after every game when I listen to them and listen to you guys. Like their takeaway about the Warriors game was it means nothing because the Warriors were checked out and who cares. But if they had lost, I
Oh, yeah.
guarantee that would have been the biggest thing ever. So like there is this sort of there's like this diaspora in Boston that is just like fed by these radio shows that's just so negative about everything Celtics. And Brady wasn't insulated. Like Brady had 4 rings and they're like, he's done. Like, fuck this guy. He's, they're 5-2. Like this team sucks,
Yeah.
So like it's just part of like culturally for some reason. It's cold in the winter, dude. Like people just get
What else are we
angry
gonna
and
do,
wanna
dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just want to yell at shit. But no, I think you're spot on. Like, well, at least for me personally, once they get the title, it's gravy, dude. I'm not gonna
Oh,
give
no
a
question.
shit. Like, I'm gonna follow, but like these losses are gonna roll off my back. But last night, I was like, this shouldn't matter, but I was stewing internally.
Of course, we need one so bad, dude. We need it. We need one. All I want is one in the Tatum era. Look at Pierce, like immortalized. That's how it works. Unfortunately, the reality of sports is like you need the one. And every TNT show, I think Shaq squeezes in 4 to 5 digs at Charles and just says any minor disagreement, he goes, I got 3 rings, big dog. So it's just like, and poor, it's terrible. But we just need the one, and all of this will be over. Colin Cowherd. So every loss is a referendum on not really the Celtics, but it's really a referendum on Tatum's career. It's just like every single loss is a referendum on who he is as a player and what he can and can't be for the rest of his life. And it's just we got to go through it. We got to defend their honor. That's why we're here. And let's get to it, I guess.
Yeah, that's basically what this show exists for, to defend the honor. But the double standards piss me off because Embiid's never had a playoff run like Tatum has had multiple of. And he can lose a game and suck, and everyone's like, well, he's going to be the MVP. It doesn't. Anyway, but I don't want to get down that rabbit hole because I'll rant.
All day.
Yeah, exactly.
All day, dude.
So let's take a long-term view of what we saw in that game, because I think the biggest thing that I didn't put in the run sheet, so I'm just shooting from the hip here,
Let's
Jake.
go.
I thought the way the Cavs played defense was really interesting. Although I will say, Zach Zarba, every fucking game he refs, it looks the same. They call these ticky-tacky bullshit fouls on screens and stuff like that, or on the perimeter, and then you get hammered going to the paint, and nothing gets called. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Every time he refs, it's like these ugly, mucked up games. But they were in this like weird zone matchup style defense where they were sending like super help from the corners, but they were doing it in a way where it was like lifted up kind of. So it cuts off that passing angle from like the top of the key. And they were like, the help was crazy on some of these, but it's almost like Tatum and the ball handlers couldn't really see the pass because of where the corner help was like located. And it worked really, really well. Some of that was the refereeing, I think, but did you notice anything like how they defended? Because like they don't have a ton of great defenders, and we like kind of had trouble picking on Garland at times.
Well, yeah, it felt like we weren't able to get to the matchups we wanted consistently, and when we did, it was late in the shot clock. And then you're absolutely right. Like when Tatum was getting downhill, he wasn't able to get a call, and he just wasn't able to finish. And then like Niang, the one possession that Porzingis finished, like they're able to get to it. Weirdly, he's like built to kind of defend Porzingis in a way because like of how thick he is. But he fouled Porzingis like 5 times, and he still finished it. I thought the Celtics did have trouble with that. But then at the same time, like you go back to really the first 3.5 quarters, which I didn't think they played well all game, but there were possessions at a time, like. Every second or third possession, they'd be like they would lock in, and the process would be really good. They would solve it and then find a wide open guy or find a cutter, and it's like okay when they're like really focused, and then it would be like they'd build up a 12-point lead, and then they'd go back to like lazy focus and like the play that sticks out. I'm sorry to do this to Drew. I feel like he's just always so memorable though. Like he saw the cross court pass a beat late. He also like missed through it, but it hit Okoro in the back. It's just like that's more of a focus execution thing as opposed to like not being able to solve the defense type problem, because the pass was there if it was accurate, but it was like, and the defense didn't even read it properly. He just hit him in the back, which was hilarious. It's like
seemingly impossible. I don't know if I've ever seen that before in an NBA game, but yeah, it wasn't just Drew. I think I remember Derek had a cross court pass that got picked off. Tatum had one or two, and I think Jalen had one as well. So I wonder if the way to attack that is to attack it more like it's a zone and less like it's man-to-man, even though it kind of looks like man, and just put Tatum in the high post or have Tatum set in the screen. He was on ball like a ton, kind of maybe too much for my taste. And we didn't get – go ahead, please.
Well, I feel like Derek struggled on the ball too, though. And like I know he's been like the KP Derek White. I do think that the KP Derek White pick and roll action or pick and pop, what basically Derek White Porzingis anything should be like the crunch time thing. And Derek White, like late, he had Garland on the switch and he attacked him, and he just he like was going to his wonky floater thing, but he just like lost his balance and bricked it. And so like he also struggled on the ball too. And I don't know, my broader thing is like they checked out up 22 with 9 minutes, and then they couldn't quite regain the rope again.
Yeah, and they got that 22-point lead by defending really well and turning the Cavs over and getting out in transition. And I thought the pace was really good offensively from like the second half of the third quarter until they got to 22.
Yep.
And then they just like let the shooting like take them out of the game, let the refs take them out of the game, and all of a sudden it's walking it up the floor again. And we know that doesn't work. It never works. And we talked about pace all season last year. It's not been a problem this year. I think we talked recently about how good we think the pace has been recently. And it just was like, I guess the frustrating thing is like all the stuff, people hammer the Celtics for
exactly
came to fruition. Right. And that's what makes this one so frustrating.
Yeah. And what's extra frustrating is like it hasn't been the case all year, really. Like even in some of their close losses, like the Nuggets game, the Thunder game, the Warriors game, I like you didn't think it was as bad. Or maybe that's just recency bias in my brain, but I definitely don't think it was the case in the Nuggets game. I don't know. Maybe we'll just jump around. This is classic. Ben's not here. We're just flying all over the place. Yep. But like, so last possession, right? We're down one. Actually, I'll answer your question about the defense. The transition defense was abominable in the fourth quarter. Like Dean Wade got hot, obviously, and it was like insane. Like he hit 6 threes in the game. He had hit 6 made threes over like his last 5 games or something like that. And the transition defense, they just kept losing him. There was no defense. They like once he got hot, like there was like a hand coming late. Porzingis lost Niang in the corner. No one had Niang in the corner because Porzingis was taking Jared Allen, but Niang was wide open in the corner because they didn't get matched up on the other end. Porzingis late closeout and Niang hits it. Like there was a combination of like they couldn't miss. Like they shot 72% from 3 in the fourth quarter while the Celtics were 0 for 8. Which it's like you don't lose games like this when you're up 22 with 9 minutes to go unless like you get a perfect storm, and that's what happened. But like the transition defense, I thought going back and watching the fourth quarter today was easily the number one issue. Like the offense actually it was not perfect at all, but like I thought the process was mostly fine. Like they're gonna go better than actually what was the final box score there? Yeah, in the fourth quarter. I know they were 0 for 8 from 3, but they were 8 for 26, 30% from the field in the fourth quarter, right. And worse from obviously 9 minutes on there. But the offense wasn't that bad.
No, I think the offense felt slow. Maybe is that was kind of my concern with it was like, but the result, or not the result, but the shots they actually ended up generating weren't that bad. Like KP got a pretty deep, wide open 3. that he usually hits. You know, he got into the post a couple times and that seemed to work and probably should have got fouled. Tatum missed like a little 10-foot little fall away bunny that like once
nice
that
move.
missed, I know.
Yeah, because he that's the thing. Like cause like the Tatum one, I went back, and I watched it. It's like Tatum, he missed a layup over like Niang and I forget who the other. I think maybe it was a Koro and Niang. There's no rim protector. And he's been so good at the rim. Misses that 10-foot shot. Misses a catch and shoot 3 off Derek White penetration over Garland, in and out. And he also has a great drive and kick to Al in the corner, who like drops it and then has to shoot it, and then he misses. It's like it wasn't as bad as it felt, but you're right about the pace. Like all of those shots came like under 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Right, yeah, and that's the problem. But also that's like the nature of basketball, right? The other team's absurdly hot, so you're taking the ball out of the net, so that slows you down when you don't get stops or you don't turn them over. So, I mean, it all just built on themselves. And yeah, you're right, 22-point fourth quarter lead with 8.5 minutes left and you lose. Like, shit's going to go really wrong really quickly. So one thing, so I want to know, I've seen some people blaming Joe. I think the biggest thing I didn't love about Joe's game plan was Cornette being in while we were getting shredded in transition and semi-transition in that fourth quarter. He had a lot of those like half okay contests that Dean Wade hit. I think he had contested 3 of Dean Wade's threes that went in. So like clearly it wasn't working and they're clearly pushing the pace big time. Like that is just not Luke's time. Like you got to take him out real quick there. Even though he was solid otherwise, I thought, and he's been great recently. He was awesome in the Golden State game too. But like once a game gets like that hectic and a team is attacking, they were really small. I don't even think Jared Allen was out there then. So I just didn't feel like the place for Luke, in my opinion. I know I think Tillman, I guess, was out or hurt.
Apparently, it feels like he must have been out. It was very unclear, but I don't think he was active.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's like you pull something crazy out of the bag. Like, look, hey, they're on, a 14-0 run, I think it was at one point, but we still had a 10-point lead. It's like, let's go Tatum at the 5. Let's match their size.
O'Shea.
Or O'Shea at the 5. Like, we're way more skilled 1 through 5 positions. Let's just do what they're doing and beat them with our talent. And that didn't happen. But otherwise, like, people are killing Joe for not taking timeouts. He did take a timeout when it got to 6. It didn't fucking matter.
I'm so timeouts don't do anything. This is what happened. Like the Cornet, like you're right. And I think like, yeah, we're talking about this game, but we're trying to find things like does this matter? What can we do big picture? It's not something I think we have to worry about really in a game that matters.
Yep.
Like Joe tried to buy rest. He was like, I get that things are maybe we're not guarding right now, but we're going to score twice. We need to score twice in the next 6 minutes and we're going to win the game. We actually only scored, maybe even more. Maybe it was 3 times, but like that was a 34-6 run, right? Like he was like, we can survive like a pretty cataclysmic to like bad offensive performance, but we like whatever a 99.9 percentile bad performance, we can't survive that, and that's what happened. So that's why Cornette stayed out there, and that's why the starters didn't come back in until 5 minutes when they usually come back 2 minutes beforehand. So it's like I don't think that's something we have to worry about really in big games in the playoffs. And so from that perspective, I agree, but I think everybody was on the same page. Joe, Cavs. I saw some doom. Saw the Cavs like reporters being like, "Bummer, this sucks. We lost again. Are we gonna fall to the 4th seed?" No, you're not.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So Josh Cronin in the chat, do you think anyone in the locker room is telling Tatum that's a bad final shot? I actually don't think it was a bad final shot, honestly. It wasn't a great shot. No, he missed. I think it was Derek set like a ghost screen to get the switch to Garland onto him. And Derek was wide open for like a heartbeat and he's got to hit that pass. But I thought the problem was he just went too slow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Had he got that matchup and then immediately went, there's enough time for KP to get the rebound because he was there to get the rebound. So I truly like on a last possession, the big thing you don't want to do is turn the ball over. And that's why you see all these like shitty isolation possessions because that's the most low turnover possession in the game. And he gets like a mid-range jumper that almost went. It like kicked up and hung on the front of the rim a little bit. So I don't think it was a great shot, but I also like it's a decent look for your best player in the mid-range. It's not like a heave three RJ Barrett style to win the game that he actually made.
If
you
they
hated
had
it.
Well, I didn't hate it. I guess like if they had inbounded the ball with 7 seconds left and that's the shot they got, then whatever. But they
Fair.
inbounded the ball, as you said, it was just too slow, dude. And this might be Tatum's biggest weakness as far as like the crunch time thing goes, and specifically like the last possession stuff. It's like you're down one, and I like when I went back and watched it. I had the Scal and Drew Carter broadcast. When I watched it live, I had the TNT broadcast. And Scal's screaming, you're going too slow. You want to extend the game as much as you can when you're down one, because chances are you're probably not going to score. Like, let's call you're shooting 39% from three on the season, or 38. That's a 38% chance of getting a shot. Or you're whatever, 48% from the field. So chances are you're probably going to miss. You want to give yourself time to get an offensive rebound or foul, and then hope that they miss one or they make both and you still have another chance to go to overtime. You didn't leave yourself any chance to have another possession. And that's the biggest issue. And that's happened game 4 against Philly. That was like the fame, like Marcus Smart made the shot, but it was like 0.4 seconds too late because they went too slow again. I do think at this point, the default for Joe, like, I know he tried to call a timeout with 5 seconds left, which I'm happy that he tried. But it's just, once he starts walking the ball up and it's obvious, and like Joe's like, Joe's trying to like direct traffic and call the play and shows Tatum too slow. If you have to do that and organize, just call a timeout then. Like if you're trying to draw up the play, just call a timeout. You've got 2 left. And I just think that should be the default at this point. Like, unless there's a matchup unless you've been scoring consistently over the last like 4 or 5 minutes, then fine, you know what to go to. That's been working, but you haven't. And so in that context, and I think Joe will learn from that. And I pray to God, because I just think draw something up. He's like leading the league in ATO, points per possessions. Just fucking call a timeout, draw it up.
Yeah, and I think people got mad at him for not calling a timeout in the Minnesota game where Jalen got that like bad 3 off, but when there's 4 seconds or 5 seconds left and you're pulling a rebound down, I'm okay with not calling the timeout, because you take away the randomness of getting the ball inbounds and not knowing where you're going to be inbound. Like if you got to inbound it in the backcourt, well, you just wasted 2 seconds that you would have had, and you're in the exact same position, except now the defense is set where they weren't set when you were getting the rebound. But yeah, I think it was like 18 seconds left or something like that when we had the ball. That you should probably be calling a timeout. Now, I'm sure he had 2. So if we couldn't inbound it, probably could have blown another one and then tried to inbound it again. And you can just throw that back into the backcourt, and that's fine. You got plenty of time to get into your set there. So yeah, this was not Joe's finest moment. I'll say that, but certainly not his fault.
This was a trap game. It was a trap game, and they failed, and then they went up big. But I don't know. Maybe we can. I don't know if we need to stay on this too much longer. But like, do you? My whole thing starting the pod yesterday was like, what was more valuable, winning that game by 17 and playing like shit for most of the game, or losing it like this? Like, what's going to be more likely to actually help them in their quest to win the title?
Yeah, no, I totally agreed with your take that like it's better to lose this game and like not feel invincible anymore than it is to win it by 22 without Donovan Mitchell. And it's like, what are you really learning from kind of, and I think going back, like they did not play well offensively in the first 2 quarters either. They were just making shots. Like I think 4 of their 5 first shots were like pull up threes, which
Tatum
is just
was nuts.
like, yeah, and they were just going in, but that's terrible process. And I think it kind of bit them that they just were relying on that early. So I think losing that game, it's like they know they weren't focused. Jalen said it at the end of the game. He said it was a mindset loss, and it absolutely was. So I think they'll learn from it. I think they'll but we've said that before and we see these things, but they haven't been happening. They've been awesome in the clutch this season. They're plus 20 net rating in the clutch this year. And I looked at the last 3 years combined. When the Jays are on the court, their clutch net rating was minus 7.5. for the last 3 years combined, and they're +5 together this year. So like things have changed. They're really good in the clutch. This was just a pretty painful loss in that way. So, all right, we got to jump into our word from our sponsor here.
First to the Floor is proudly brought to you by Prize Picks. The NBA playoffs are rapidly approaching and the action in the Eastern and Western Conference standings is heating up. Whether it's the battle for the second seed in the East or the fight to stay out of the play-in bracket, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like Meek Mill and Sugar Sean O'Malley? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Prize Picks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. I've been having a lot of fun with the Prize Picks app, particularly with prop picks for the Celtics. I feel pretty confident making those less or more picks given how closely we follow the team, and it definitely adds an element of excitement to watching the game. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match of up to $100 when you download the Prize Picks app and use the code CLNS. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
All right. Prize Picks. Go check it out. It's fun. It's cool. It's a little different. So, yeah, have some fun with it. Do you have anything else on the Cavs or you want to talk Nuggies?
I would like to get the KP the ball more and Derek White the ball more in the clutch. That's really it. But at the same time, part of like the Porzingis thing is like you obviously you want to get in the ball more in the clutch because he's been insane. But like you do have to work like actions and stuff to get him the right matchup. Like you don't want him necessarily posting up Jared Allen, just chuck it to him, see what he can do, right? Like, and so that's always going to take time off the clock. And if like teams are locked in, they're probably going to have pre-switching. Like they're going to have a plan for like to like that. Like, they're like that's their best play. They're probably going to try and get to that, and they probably tried to, but it's like, you know, and then the clock's ticking. And so I think it's slightly more complicated being like, obviously KP should be taking the shots, or we should get Derek White wide open, catch and shoot three. Like it's once you get down to a 1 point game, just flip the coin, dude. I saw the Nuggets are like 1-6 in 1 point games as well. So it's like, you know.
I'm writing about that exact thing for a 3-leaf clover this week. Is basically like randomness and luck plays a way bigger factor in the clutch than I think we all sort of give credit for. Like shit just happens, shots go in, they don't, and they're these tiny little sample sizes, so we like overreact to them. But it really is like, it's just Dean Wade went like 6 for 6 from 3. Like, come on, like that's an anomaly.
So we're what are we? We're 13-2 in our last 15, and we lost to a Dean Wade 6 3-pointers game and an Austin Reeves 6 3-pointers game. So that's
sensing a trend here, but and on boys. KP, dude, let's do some weird shit with him in the clutch. Throw him off like pin downs and stuff like that. Like get him on the move. Like, you know, centers don't like doing that. They're gonna have to switch it. Get him on a pin down, then have him like face up in the high post. Like do some creative stuff in these last 30 games or so, just to see what we got. Yeah. So, all right, the Nuggets. They are coming off a fairly similar loss to what we just had. Not quite as bad, but they fought back, tied it in the fourth, then got blown off the floor in overtime. They're 42-20, 6-4 in their last 10. So this is very Nuggetsy of just like coasting into the playoffs when they've got a decent seed locked up. They attack similarly to us. Most post-ups in the league. We're second. They're fifth in efficiency. We're first. 29th in spot-up possessions, but sixth in efficiency. We're like right around those numbers too. So, look, man, it's Jokic. It's everybody else. Like, he's better than anyone on our team, and that, you know, that's not difficult to say. Like, what are you looking for in the Nugs game?
Well, I'm like looking back to the last game against the Celtics and the Nuggets, right? 2-point loss, heartbreaker. I think that they nailed the game plan. And I think that like you go back and look at the last game, they shot 25.8% from 3 and they only gave up 31 attempts. And like the attempts, you know, they only gave up 3 attempts to KCP and only 4 attempts to MPJ. And like if you watch MPJ and the Nuggets against the Lakers a couple of days ago, when the Nuggets are at their best, it's Jokic like flying around with the passes, and KCP and MPJ in particular just like going scorched earth from three. And that's when the Nuggets are most dangerous. Like they are truly a pick your poison team, right? Like they're so hard to stop. Like Jokic can go one-on-one. The two-man game with Murray and Jokic is insane. Like I said it last night on Late Night, like Jamal Murray has had 4 games where he goes 71% or better from the field. And one of them was against the Celtics. The other 3 were against the Hawks, the Grizzlies, and I'm forgetting the last one, but it was like the Celtics defense. Yeah, slightly better than those other 3. Like for Jamal Murray to go that nuclear on those types of shots was insane. And if he does that again, we're probably going to lose again. But the Jays, right, they were bad last game. So they were, Tatum was 9 for 24, 22, 8, 5 assists, 0 turnovers, like relative, right? But the Jaylen Brown, 13 points, 6 for 19. They were a combined 2 for 17 from 3, and they were 31.8% from 3 as a team. You're probably not going to beat the Nuggets if the Jays play like that.
Yeah. And like some of the shots, actually taking a step back, the defense did work. Like I think it was 102, 100. Like that, you hold Denver to 102 points, you expect to win. And it was like Herculean efforts from Jamal Murray. Some of those shots he hit down in crunch time, dude. Like he had like a fall away 20-footer where he like landed behind the 3-point line and he buried it. And like, if that shot doesn't go in, we're going to overtime. So I think that game, like people point back to like, oh, Denver's just in a different class than the Celtics, but it's like we make one more 3 and we shot one of our worst percentages of the year and we win that game. So I think you play defense like that again, we're probably going to be fine. I don't like playing in Denver because they have the high altitude, but Denver's got spots the Celtics can pick at, but like their best defensive lineup on cleaning the glass is Jamal Murray, Holiday, Porter, Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. And it's like, even that lineup, like you can go at Jamal Murray. Like Holiday doesn't scare me as a defender. Obviously MPJ, kind of an okay help defender, but he's not like an on-ball lockdown guy. Jokic, I have not caught a ton of Nuggets games, but he's been pretty solid defensively this year.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Gordon, obviously a great defensive player. So like even their best defensive lineup has multiple pressure points that you can attack. But you need your threes to go down. It reminds me of like that first loss we had to Philly this year where we shot like 25%. It's like, man, some of these shots were just wide open and it just makes it look so bad when they're not going in. And 2 for 17 from 3 from the Jays, like this is you're not gonna win like any games when they do that because they're basically shooting you out of the game at that point.
Yeah, I'll ask you a question on defensively, right? So Jokic, you just got to try your darndest. You know? Like I think no matter who's on him, I'm hoping that Tillman is playing tomorrow because I want to at least see him get reps against Jokic. Like in theory, he's a guy that can give you stuff there. Like they played it relatively straight up last time from memory. Like they had KP on him and Horford who had a crack. And I think that's fine. Maybe you stick KP on Gordon at times, and you go like Tatum or Jaylen, but it's like you probably can't. It's not tenable, right? Like for that to be the matchup. So I think really it's about, can you shut down Jamal Murray? Because I think they can do a really good job on KCP and MPJ. Like they have guys like Holiday and Derek that can just really navigate screens really well and shut down and run them off the 3-point line and then recover and go from there. But Jamal Murray, I mean, I think part of it was just like he was hot, like scorching hot, and just hit some crazy shots. But I would maybe like to see Jaylen start on Murray or even Tatum start on Murray, just throw more size and length at him to kind of maybe keep him a little bit off balance, or really just try and shut that down early. Because I think if you can do that, then that's going to give you a chance to slow them down offensively. And then Jokic, I think you live with him like putting up a big points total.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take 30 shots or 26 shots, right? Jokic wants to take 16 and have 11 assists. So I'm totally fine with, like, if he's shooting threes, if he's shooting like these kind of deeper mid-range jumpers, that's a win, even though he could make them at an elite level. But like, you just can't let the rest of the team get going. I love the Jaylen Brown on Jamal Murray idea, because I think to defend Murray, you got to do your work early. Like, you almost like how we defended KD in that first round series in 2022, where it's like anytime he cuts, you just got to have a body on him. Anytime he's going for the dribble handoff with Jokic, like, you just got to try to get between Murray and Jokic to blow that dribble hand up off. Like, you just can't lazily go under. And the way you get between them is you beat him early. You see it's coming and you get on top of Murray and just get there. And then he's going to try to back cut you. That's a much more difficult pass. There's help low. So I think Jaylen is like designed in a lab to play that type of defense, because he's a pure chaser. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can say to Jaylen, like, that's your guy. Don't let him out of your sights. It's when he's like, okay, you're the corner help, and sometimes you got to get high, and sometimes you got to get back, and he's going to back cut you sometimes. So like, but on Murray, and he was on Garland. I thought he did the best job on Garland last night too. And I think we went away from it in crunch time, and Garland started to get downhill a little bit. So I think that's the perfect matchup for JB. Antonio M, sorry, still pissed about last game. Yes, us
No
too.
need to apologize.
Yeah, we get it, dude. We get it. So I like JB on Murray, and like Gordon, even KCP. Like, is he going to take 14 threes if you kind of give him some space in the corner? Maybe, but probably not. I know he's had games like that. I know. He's a gunner at home too.
I love man. This reminds me of like the Steph Warriors matchup. Like, I loved past tense watching Steph Curry and the Warriors. Like, it just isn't the same experience watching Steph do like awesome stuff anymore, because I'm just like that son of a bitch. And like the Jokic is like, I love watching the Nuggets because it's just so unique and super fun to watch.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of the Celtics. Like, everyone on the team is so empowered. Like, they want KCP to be super aggressive. They want MPJ to be super aggressive. Like, anytime you catch a Jokic pass, essentially on a catch, if it's any slither of daylight, just let it fire. And so I like the idea of just like trying to shut those guys down. Because once they get going at home, that does actually scare me a fair bit.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, we really should have had that one in Boston, because I hate playing Denver and we've actually been pretty really.
Yeah, it's a half a point. But like, it's a pick 'em, but like, we're slightly favored, which is kind of surprising to me though.
Yeah, so that's like neutral court. You're probably thinking like 3.5. We'd be favored by. So yeah, man, you're right though. Like, I think it really just comes down to not letting those guys feel empowered, not letting them get going, but also like, you got to help off them too, you know? So like, Gordon's the guy you help off because he's not going to hit 10 threes, but he'll back cut you. He'll so post good up. Yeah, ball. Dude, he's good passer too, like off of cuts and stuff like that. He'll keep the ball moving. So man, like, there's a reason they're 42-20 and they don't like totally try every game and they're still that good. They're just impossible to defend. Ben.
Yeah. I hope you're right, Ben Vallis.
Yeah.
Hot take.
I wonder why. Go ahead. Sorry.
Hot take. We're going to fucking destroy them. Jaylen will posterize Jokic. I hope so. That'd be awesome. I think that's possible. It's weird. Like, my idea of playing the Nuggets in like the finals, or just generally, it's like the offense has to be really good for them to win. But like, then you go back and look at the matchup in Boston, it's like a 100-102 game. So it's like, maybe it doesn't have to be necessarily incredible for them to win a game. But like, the way I think about this matchup, I'm like, they should be able to, like, I know the Nuggets defense is like better than people like think of when, like, anecdotally. I think, what are they on the year? They're 9th on the year, which is obviously good, but like, it's not elite. And then like, Aaron Gordon has been a guy that Tatum has been very comfortable attacking on the perimeter. You can post up KCP. You can attack MPJ. Like, they've got a good team defense, and that's sometimes more important than anything else. And Jokic has definitely become a better rim protector. He's good at getting his hands into passing lanes, and that's like something that can disrupt the Jays, at times is like guys that are just like good with anticipation, and as opposed to like the Jays can sometimes be pretty calculating with the way they like to attack. And so that's where I can see that the Denver defense having success. I would just love to see the Celtics offense play well. Like, even if they lose the game, like that's like defensively, I'm pretty confident they're going to play well. Like, I think they're going to be locked in. The game plan's going to be pretty sound. And if the Nuggets, score on you, that's just going to be kind of like what happens. I just like to see them play well offensively, specifically the Jays.
Yeah, and like the offense in that Cavs game was just so lazy sometimes, dude. And it's like you can get at these dudes with KP and Al out there because Jokic is gonna have to come up and defend high, right? And then but you can't let him off the hook by just attacking with that one action. Like, there's got to be multiple swings. There's got to be multiple driving kicks. And the key to being able to do that is attacking early in the shot clock. So you should be able to get an advantage every time Jokic is out there by putting him in pick and roll or pick and pop stuff. And then it's just a matter of making the right read off of that. And Denver's all of their guys, Jokic is great in the passing lanes too, but so is Gordon, so is KCP. Even Murray's he's not a good defender, but he's smart and can read the game, and he's strong for a guard too. So they'll muck you up. They have a little bit of that Heat Devil Magic style defense in them. So I just want to see us go, dude. You can run Jokic off the floor. He doesn't want to play a fast paced game. And we don't either. We play slow as hell too, at least on a per possession basis. So run him around screens, get KP moving, use him in different types of actions, and off ball stuff will be really helpful. There's some teams we can just attack, high screen and roll with the floor spread. I don't think Denver's one of those teams though.
Yeah, I think and even you just talking about KP, I want to see the Jays play well against a really good team, against a contender, because obviously that's important, but KP might be the key to this matchup just generally, right? Even in the first game, he's 6 for 11, 3 for 5 from 3. If I remember correctly, he was super hot early in that Nuggets game. Maybe he had 15 or 16 in the first half, and then Denver adjusted and they weren't quite able to get back to that. I think, and that's the secret ingredient to this Celtics team in general. Not just for this matchup. It's KP's the cheat code. He's the ceiling blaster, Latvian Moses. Can he just have a monster game and show everybody this is why this team is different. It's because of this giant Latvian dude.
Yeah, dude. And Tim Preston, looking at getting my water bottle. It's awesome. My sister got it for me for Christmas. I strongly suggest it. But yeah. And you know what I want to see more KP? Short roll KP.
Yeah, get a little mid-range jumper going.
Yeah, or get him going downhill with the ball in his hands, because his handle's legitimately incredible for a 7'3" guy. And it seems like the way teams are defending the pick and pop with him is they know it's coming, so they show two on the ball, and then immediately before the pass can get there, they're sprinting back to KP. But if he's rolling downhill, you can dump that pass over the top, and all of a sudden you're playing 4-on-3. So I wonder, and Jokic is slow as shit. KP can get in behind him and do some damage. So I want to see a little more KP pick and roll, and in that short roll, especially because then corner help's going to have to come. He can dump that pass to the corner. Then they're in rotation, and that's when you can get your multiple drives and kicks going,
Absolutely, man. And even yesterday, it was a transition play, but KP has almost one of the sequences of the season where he breaks up that play on one end, and then how many times this year have people hit him on a variety of passes going down the lane? He's just throwing down thunderous dunks.
Yeah,
his touch around the rim is nuts, and so I'm with you, dude. More KP, is a good thing, and I think in this matchup in particular, I think you can definitely have some success.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I've got to get out of here in about 5 to 10 minutes here. So,
okay.
What are you thinking, man? We winning this game, Jake?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. This is the one team that I have so much respect for compared to every other team in the league.
Yeah.
Just purely because of how good I think Jokic is. So I'm not sure I can pick the Celtics. Yeah, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I can't do it.
It feels like we're due to just like light them up from 3, though, doesn't it, Jake?
I mean, we've been insane from 3. Even
I
yesterday,
know,
we had
that's true. We were,
but
yeah.
that's good though. I think that's like, and then you could be right. And it's like if we had just played seriously yesterday, we would have won that game by 30 because like we are shooting. So I am a coward. I agree. And so like Ben called me a coward for not picking. Yeah, if we
How dare you be objective here?
I don't know. We've been insane from 3. So like if we can just go into Denver, I remember, was it 2 years ago? We went into Denver and we just like destroyed them. I remember Peyton Pritchard cooking in the second quarter and the game was pretty much over by halftime. And so like it's obviously possible. And I think that like in a series against Denver, how you're going to beat them is going to be like 4 double-digit wins. And maybe 3 double-digit wins and 1 close one. Like that's probably how you end up beating Denver in a series. And like honestly, I was thinking about this like in all the clutch conversation, like thinking about that 08 series against the Lakers. A lot of those games weren't that close when it yeah. And so you don't really need to be necessarily awesome in the clutch to win a title. Like the Phoenix Suns were the best clutch team in the NBA that made the finals, and they got destroyed by the Bucks in the finals. Like you just, if you can blow teams off the court, that is often a better indicator. Even like ironically, the Warriors, like the Steph Curry Warriors, are kind of have low-key been bad in the clutch. Like Steph Curry's turnover issues, except for when they have historically played the Celtics. We didn't give them a chance to do that on Sunday, thankfully. But like they have like Game 7 against the Cavs in that 3-1 blown lead series. Like Steph Curry just turned the ball over and terrible in the clutch. Like you don't have to be incredible in the clutch in order to win a title or win a game, obviously. So let's just win by 20. That'd be nice.
Yeah, for the love of God, please win by 20. Yeah. That's Kevin Love like locking up Curry in the clutch. I remember very vividly once or twice. That 08 team, that Atlanta series went 7, and I think every win they had was by 20 or more or something ridiculous like that in that 08 first round. So yeah, I mean we almost did it by getting to 6 in the finals when we were way worse in the clutch in 2022 under Udoka. We were minus 4.6 net rating in the clutch in that season, and we're plus 20 now. So things have changed. We're a hell of a lot better in the clutch. Please don't make it go to the clutch ever again, Celtics. I can't handle it, dude. Yeah, it's too painful.
I think we can all agree that like it's neither nearly as bad as like Colin Cowherd, which not a serious voice, but like some of the ridiculous takes about the Celtics in the clutch are like not nearly as bad as that. But I also don't think we have to lie and be like it's a strength. Like one of the best things about the Celtics is like they're incredible in the clutch. Like they're not. I know the numbers are good. They're good in the clutch. Good in the clutch, I think is fine. But it's not a strength.
Right. I think that's totally fair. They're maybe slightly above average in the clutch. It's just so stark because they are fucking incredible in every other time. So I think that's why it's so nerve-wracking. But after the Nuggets, I think we got 3 more games on the road: Phoenix, Portland, Utah, and then back home to play Phoenix. So what game of that you looking most forward to? And then we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, I guess it's the 2 Phoenix ones. I think that first Phoenix one, it's going to be tough. It's going to be the end of the road trip, be a little tired. So my guess is that, oh my God, I'll pick against the Celtics again, against Phoenix in that spot too. But
they're balling lately.
I'm a smooth brained, ape. I've got recency bias. I watched the Celtics lose yesterday, and I watched Phoenix beat the Suns. I mean, Phoenix, they are the Suns. Phoenix beat Denver yesterday. So I'm like, the Phoenix are good now without Booker as well. So I don't know. I'm a mess at this point. Everything's blurring together. I don't know, man.
I hear you, dude. It's that point in the season. I think anytime KD comes to the Garden, there's just a little extra juice to it.
For sure.
Actually, I saw KD in the Garden his second or third year, and he had 37, and it was fucking incredible. I mean, he's just so goddamn good, dude, even at 36 years old. And I was watching some highlights of his like passing with Nurkic, and that's friggin' terrifying, dude. Like Nurkic is catching in the short roll and like diamond up corner shooters. Like shit, they've definitely found something there. That is not ideal. So I don't know. It's got to be the Phoenix games, of course.
Yeah. The Jazz and Blazers games will hopefully just be like fun Celtics vibes games. But then it's kind of, then we're really like, there's like 2 big games left after that. If we win tomorrow, I will definitely be happy again, Jazz, in the chat here. Absolutely no question. Yeah, look, if we win tomorrow, I mean, you thought vibes were high after the Warriors game. I think, like, if we win the Nuggets game, that'll just be it, I think. Like no one's going to care about, I don't know. Actually, that's probably not true. If we lose the Bucks game and the Thunder game, everybody will freak out again. So
yes, 100%, dude. Especially the Bucks game.
Yeah.
I can tell you one man who will be extremely happy if we win tomorrow, and that's Ben Vallis.
That's
it's
right.
the Denver Cup for him. One of his good friends is a Nuggets fan, and apparently a very ruthless shit talker. So hopefully the C's win for Ben. But unless you got anything else, Jake, I think we can wrap it up, man. You've just put in 2 hours of podcasting in back-to-back days about that Cleveland loss. So it's time for you to get some rest, recuperate, and watch us beat the shit out of Denver. So
yes.
Anyway, Jake, love your work, man. First to the floor, we are out.
I love the Celtics!